This video is about the legendary Amy Winehouse and her relationship with Blake Fielder, Civil. It was a tempestuous connection at best. At worst, it was fairly a toxic connection. It's been highly publicized that it was filled with lots of, addictions, arguments, physical altercations. But one thing that was very, very clear between these two were that they were inseparable. Even when they were apart and physically separated, they still pined for each other. That's quite the connection. Let's have a look at the Destiny Matrix. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ruby Rose Tarot. I hope that all is well, swell. I thought that I would, as part of the Know Thyself series, and for those of you who didn't see the original video, which I did on Michael Jackson, I thought I would do a compatibility reading, but showing you what can happen when it goes astronomically wrong. Now, very, very quick, shameful plug, I know. But myself and my best mate in the whole wide world, Mia, we have set up a channel on YouTube, and it is called Reignite Your Soul. So for those of you who are interested, then please show some love, pop over there, subscribe. I'll be starting to upload, and she will be starting to upload some videos very, very soon. But a lot of it will be in keeping with this Know Thyself series. So, for those of you who want a detail on what the Destiny Matrix is, you can pop into the Michael Jackson video. But this video is looking at compatibility matrices. And as we have established, it is when it can go astronomically wrong. So today we're going to look at Amy Winehouse and Blake. So Amy and Blake today. Where can I start? Number one, R.I.P. Amy. I was huge fan of hers. She was UK born, and very, very, very inspirational young lady. And we have lost an icon. Interestingly though, I also feel, looking at the situation between the two of them, during that time when I was around, because we were roughly around the same age, I thought that sort of connection was, that level of intensity and wanting to be with each other was kind of soulmates, meant to be drawn together. So for those of you who do feel strongly that you are in a twin flame connection, it probably is worth having a compatibility matrix reading done just to double check that, because it is highly likely you're not. All right. But then it's highly likely that you are. But I thought that sort of connection potentially may have fallen into, like the karmic traits of a twin flame connection. Looking at the Destiny Matrix, boy, was I wrong. The glaringly obvious point and issue that I can point out straight away is the comfort zone. So the comfort zone is the center of the matrix, which is the number 15. That's devil energy. And what this denotes is that this is a very highly sexual type of connection. High risk of cheating within this connection as well. But it's a very, 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 very difficult sort of connection to deal with. What's also really, really, really interesting of note here as well is the fact that, bear with me one second, I'm just seeing if there's anything else that I can see in terms of the karmic tale, but there isn't. No. One thing which is also of note is the reason why the two of them met. And you can find that out by having a look at the left-hand side, which is the number 3. So that's the visit card, as well as the 13. It's why the universe had brought these two together. What can I say? So the reason why this couple met, so number one with that 3 energy is it was like almost like a game, children's game between the two of them. And that's not to say that they weren't serious about their connection. They really, really were. The two of them looked at each other through rose-tinted glasses. But it created a safety for, as in they saw safety within that connection. They felt very safe with each other. However, the reason why this couple were brought together by the universe is the energy number 13. Partners met at a conscious age, or with disabilities of one partner, to walk the path of spiritual growth and rebirth together. The basis of this development is the experience of living pain. Internal discipline and self-control are necessary. The two of them were brought together for spiritual growth and rebirth. Death card. They were brought together for pain. This is a very, very, very karmic sort of connection and very toxic sort of connection, especially with that 15 slap bang in the center, which talks about sex. It talks about temptation. But I think above all, addiction. The two of them were heavily addicted to each other. What else can this compatibility matrix show? So the way that their nearest and dearest will have seen this connection, they would have seen that that Blake would have been a bit of a go-getter, and that Amy provided him with his backbone, if you will, that real support system. And the two of them trying to create a home together. Now, when they're in their positive energy, the two of them really respect each other. They're surrounded with love and care, and that portrayed outwards to their outer family as well, their loved ones. If they were parents, they would have been, as in together, they would have made excellent parents and really cared for their children. So that was the energy 3, the Empress energy. Now, with that energy 13, which is a very difficult energy, the couple's life is eventful and similar to Russian mountains. But any lack of money, which, let's be honest, they weren't at risk of being in that position, but any lack of money gives way to prosperity. They would have kind of overcome any issues and problems that they would have had in regards to successes. The two of them with that 13 energy would have loved traveling and extreme activities. Ideas are born in this type of connection, and props to Amy. ideas were born. You know, Back to Black was a fantastic album and a fantastic song. And I feel that he was her muse. He inspired her to write some very epic music. Friends and acquaintances who visited the couple will leave with unexpectedly bold advice in response to any urgent questions that they may have. Now, in terms of their financial well-being and a happy relationship, it's important for the couple to gather relatives at one table. Okay, so family is very, very important, or would have been, or should have been, very important in the connection to maintain it, to strengthen the ties. If someone of the relatives is in a quarrel, it's better to make up that quarrel. So I feel that, again, this could have been them trying to get on the same page and not sleeping on an argument. It could have been them being more inclusive of their family, you know, her family, his family. Also, in terms of the financial well-being and a happy relationship, it's important for the man to earn and provide for his family, and for the woman, Amy, to take care of her husband and the children. I mean, typical, stereotypical, stereotypes, but for them, that dynamic would have worked. It's important for partners to respect each other, to take care of their parents, and to establish a home. In addition, it would have been important for them to be active, easygoing, play sports together, outdoor holidays. And I think they did do all of that. Traveling several times a year, to walk a lot and have fun with kids, which they didn't have. It's necessary for the two of them to strive for that common dream. It's important for a couple to gather, again, the relatives at the table. It's repeated. Family, the extended family, was very, very important in trying to maintain that balance within the connection. But above all, in terms of the 9 energy for the harmony, partners need to understand and accept each other, not to intrude on the partner's feelings. They can be silent together and feel fine about it. All right. Now, you can't get more of a humble connection than if the two of you can sit in the same room, not one single word uttered, but feeling that love and that sense of calmness whilst being in that person's presence. That's what they were aiming for. They can spend time reading together, watching sincere movies and TV shows. It's good if there is a place for painstaking work and in-depth knowledge in any profession. Okay. And I think Amy did do that, and she did work painstakingly in terms of her career. Now, the couple in a negative state. A man torments himself because he cannot provide wealth to the family, does not find approval and support from his wife, and may suffer from alcoholism. So again, it's not common knowledge. So Blake did have issues with addiction. I don't know. He may have had issues around whether he could provide. I mean, Amy was the breadwinner in that connection. He may not have felt supported by her in some way as well. For Amy, a woman has to work for two and drag everything on her shoulders, forgetting about her female needs. Now, again, in where the problems and difficulties arise is if Amy felt that she was taking on the lion's share of the connection. Relations in a couple cannot be called smooth. Quarrels, scandals, and manifestation of aggression, we saw all of that. It was played out on the public stage, where there was physical fights, physical altercations between the two of them. The spouses show disrespectful relations both to each other and to the partner's parents. Now, I do feel that there was a lot of disrespect within that connection. Again, a lot of it played out in the public domain. But in terms of whether there was disrespect to their respective parents, we don't know. Also, in terms of the problems and difficulties, like I said, that 13 energy is a bitch. These relationships are often one step away from a breakup. Serious passions are boiling in a couple. There is no confidence in tomorrow. In a surge of emotions, partners cannot control themselves. An unreasonable manic fear for the state of children's health, lives in this relationship, that's if they had any. A new chapter in life begins with the death of someone from the circle. Rethinking of one's life path takes place. It's hard for the couple to come through the breakup and let the partner go. Now, I don't know whether there was a death in that circle. I know that she did lose her grandma, but I can't recall whether it was around the time when she was with Blake, which may have really shifted that dynamic. What I can say is that, again, it was highly documented that Amy really struggled with letting go of that relationship. Now, she did move on, but I feel that in her heart of hearts, there was always still going to be that love for Blake, despite the pain that she went through. And equally, I think for Blake, it would be exactly the same thing. Struggling to really let her go. And I think even with her passing, and I've seen his YouTube channel, I think he really did struggle with that aspect of the fact that, they are permanently severed now. So it's the 13 energy is a very difficult energy. Now, if a couple does not fulfill what they have met for, negative karma switches on. Okay. Now, what they were meant to do, I feel it was to bring children into the world. It was to have a lot of fun. No arguments. Okay. What ended up happening was the complete opposite of that. So, scandals in a couple often arise about relations with relatives. So relatives may have been a massive catalyst to the two of them. May have been on her side, may have been on his side. They may have interfered in some way in the connection as well. There is a fear of changes, a fear of evolution, whether that is through business or within the actual connection itself. There is no confidence in tomorrow. Partners project problems in relationships with their parents, and it could be long-standing issues that the parents have had, and that's projected into the current connection. Now, if that happens, negative karma has switched on. The birth of children will also be postponed all the time, which I think occurred here. Partners compete with each other in achievements. Partners require each other to complete tasks on time, as if that person was a subordinate. Anyone who made a sacrifice in that connection, whether it was Blake or Amy, may have resented the other person and made that known. Again, these are all things that would transpire if the connection tips into negative karma. So the one thing they were brought together to do doesn't happen here. The partners cannot agree with each other on interactions, are closed off from each other. They cannot have a simple heart-to-heart conversation. There's no comfort at home. There is a mess. There is a risk, constant risk of a breakup. Also, and I don't know whether this was the case, but the people in this alliance, they would have hidden their problems and illnesses from each other. Now, it may have been that they were very open, and my assumption is that any illnesses and problems that they had, the public knew about it. So obviously each other, they would have known about it, but it's entirely possible that there are only so many things that are in the public domain. There are certain things that are very, very private, and they may have held certain things back from the other party. And again, in terms of hiding, either Amy or Blake or both of them would have hidden their true needs from each other. And which in turn created a lack of mutual understanding or no mutual understanding between the two of them. It would have also created loneliness within the connection. So even if the two of them were in the same room, one of them or both of them may have still felt alienated in some way. It also talks about one of the partners being prone to addictions of various kinds. Again, it's been highly publicized by Blake himself and by Amy herself, that addictions played a massive, massive, massive role in their connection. So the addictions applied to both partners in this instance. Another thing that would be that triggered negative karma between the two of them is whether one or both partners imposed their vision of life on the other, or they didn't accept each other as they were. There's also with this a lack of wanting to belong to any particular religion, or there is no spiritual development. The two of them were brought together to learn from each other, to learn those lessons in order for them to spiritually grow from it. In some instances, Blake and Amy may have repeated the same mistakes of possibly their parents in the relationship. Now, going back to the center of the matrix with that number 15, devil energy. the vulnerable spot of this couple is an emotional deficit and sexual attachment to each other. That's the weakness of this couple. The dependence of either one of them or both of them on each other is followed by a lot of arguments and breakups. Again, highly publicized. They made up, broke up, fought. It's really important to find common preferences in intimacy and refuse to, in quotation marks, worship your partner. Now, I don't know whether Blake worshipped Amy. I know that in his way he did love her, and Amy really loved him. But technically, it probably could have been that she worshipped him because he was the center of her universe. Now, bear with me. Apologies, guys. What else can we find here? Now, in order for the couple to kind of realign, it would have been for them to have looked in the same direction as the other person. All right, in order to have the common goals. And incorporating a lot of new and innovative ways within that connection. It could have been going to new cities, new countries. But I think more than anything, I think for the two of them, it was really important for them to learn to control themselves and any actions, including any inner impulses such as their thoughts and emotions. And to try to practice mindfulness, move with the natural flow of the connection. And in addition, to not overthink too much about the connection and not delay making decisions and executing any plans that the two of them had made together. Travel was really essential here for the two of them. Finding new ways of taking action and, like I said earlier, basically going to unexplored territories. But I think their goal with the 8 energy, which is that karma, is learning, well, their goal was to learn how to interact productively and resolving all kinds of fights and arguments. Okay? The aim really was to make any decisions from the point of highest justice, the higher self, not the carnal base self, from the higher self. So this was based on objectivity as opposed to subjectivity. I don't know whether one or both of them may have been disturbed by feelings of guilt in some way, or an imposed sense of duty or hyper responsibility. But it was necessary to have worked on those aspects, those shadow aspects. But it was the emotional impulses, really, which needed to be worked upon in order to maintain that healthy relationship. There may have been uncontrolled outbursts of passion, unreasonable jealousy, greed even, that kind of destroyed not only both the partners, but also the relationship itself. But I feel that the issue really was that both of them needed to do the work separately, not as in split. They could have done that work together, but they needed to do some internal work in trying to control their passions and their emotions. So there you have it. There's the round robin of the connection. Um, I think that the two of them really, really did have a deep knowledge of each other, and they really did enjoy each other's company in private. And I feel a lot of people over the years have waded in on that connection. I, like I said at the very outset, for one, really thought it was kind of like a twin flame-esque sort of connection. It's that pull, it's that constantly wanting to be with that person, but that person wasn't sufficiently evolved enough, and the two of them was constantly breaking up. The Matrix has and can highlight some of the more toxic aspects of your connection. I don't think I'm yet to see a Matrix where it's perfection personified the whole way through. But this Matrix is, it shows just how difficult this connection was. And I feel it also contributed to the addictions, which ultimately, and unfortunately claimed Amy. So as part of the Know Thyself series, like I said, for those of you who are interested in a Destiny Matrix, so there's the full Destiny Matrix. I provided a demonstration of that with the Michael Jackson. But there's also the compatibility aspects where I can go through the compatibility between you and your person. And you may have already split up, and maybe you're just curious around why the two of you even met in the first place. Then reach out to me. It's complimentary as part of a full reading, and I will run through what happened there. And if your person loops back around, what you can do, what you both can do to help to kind of re-baseline that connection, to solidify it, to work through those negative energies, to hopefully get to a place of harmony. All right, guys, that is it. As I said before, if you're interested in seeing more of these Matrix series, I'll be doing them on the other channel with Mia. So that is Reignite Your Soul. So if you are interested, jump on there, and we will be posting on there very, very soon. As part of our life coaching exercise, and knowing, trying to get as many people as possible to be able to know themselves, and then ultimately being able to seize their future. Now, for those of you who haven't already, I'd also really appreciate it if you could subscribe to this channel. That way you'll be kept up to date on absolutely anything and everything that I upload on here. All right. And don't forget to do your girl a solid and smash that like button for me as well. I hope that this has helped, and I hope that it's given many of you some food for thought in terms of the connections that you're in. There's usually a reason why you met that person. For some of you, it's spiritual growth. For some of you, you really were meant to be with that person. But because either you or the other person may have been in negative vibrations, it resulted in a split. Okie doke. Take care of yourselves, guys. Enjoy the rest of the week. And mwah, I'll catch you next time. Bye.